like 3 years after In Our Wake, there's new music coming from you guys, and it's a little bit different this time around. But I want to ask: was this the original plan to have it come out this year, or was it supposed to come out last year? A lot of bands were supposed to release stuff last year and pushed it back a year.
We finished it almost a year to the release date, to be fair.
Okay.
And that more or less is standard. Like,
okay,
when you finish it, I mean, it is a little bit longer than I think we would have liked.
Right.
And with everything that's happening with the band, like, that delayed some stuff too.
Sure.
But, mastering takes a while.
Yeah.
Label promotion, figuring out all their end takes a while, as always. So I wouldn't say we pushed it too much.
Okay.
It was actually like, we had that meeting of like, guys, do we release this now? Like, the world's weird. We don't want it to get swept under the rug or not paid attention to. And I'm the one that was like, nah, we released this.
Yeah.
Like, we can go write another album tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't tour on this album and something goes down and this isn't over, we'll just deal with it. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just go write another record and then tour that one, or tour both at the same time. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But like, I don't want to sit on this, because this is who we are right now, and this is important to exist in the world right now.
Yeah. There's so much good music on the record too, dude. Like,
Thank you
guys, for one, like, it's one thing when there's like a change at vocals with like one person, but like you and Brandon are both kind of really shifting roles in kind of like vocally right now with this record, which is very different. But was it more?
I mean, go ahead.
Was it more excitement or like nerves? I know with Brandon, he's got like Hell or High Water. With all that stuff, but like, what was the feeling going to this record, knowing like, man, this is going to be different this time?
Well, we didn't. The half of this record was done with the original lineup.
Oh.
And then it shifted halfway through.
Oh, wow.
So we went back into it and wrote, I think we'd done about half the record. So we went back into it and we wrote songs like Catastrophe, Underrated, Weed, Strange Powers of Prophecy, and a couple more. And honestly, like, this is the most exciting time in my musical career personally. And I know the band echoes that sentiment. Like, we're stoked. We're fired up. It was at the point where we were done with the album. I'm just like, I look around. I'm like, I don't want to be done. Like, I want to keep writing. I want to keep going. This is so much fun. And like, my previous history before Atreyu, like, I was the front man in every band I'd been in, more or less.
Right.
And I had written most of the lyrics. Like, so when I stepped into Atreyu, it was like, okay, well, you got that singer who's awesome. You got that singer who's awesome. He does a lot of the lyrics. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those two are really good at music. They write most of the music. Okay, well, I'm not just going to come in from an ego standpoint and try to like put my stamp on every single thing. Like, I'm going to come in, excuse me, I'm going to try and fill in the gaps and uplift others and help them be the best versions of themselves. And over time, of course, I got more comfortable. I joined when they were like recording The Curse. They parted ways with their previous bass player and the day that they were recording bass. So they had a session guy on The Curse.
Wow.
And so I toured the entire record. So I got to know everyone really well. And I knew everyone before, but, know people in different ways in the band. But,
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then on Death Grip, like, I started to write more. At Sales, I started to write even more. And then, like, I would say with In Our Wake and Baptized, I've had the most influence.
Okay.
I think just with the styles of both of these records, it's very, like, and that's, John Feldman has shifted and helped us go this direction as well. It's very in the moment. It's very like, okay, what is the message you want to say today? What's the point of this song? What's your goal here? What do you want the listeners to feel? What picture do you want to create? Instead of like, okay, let's labor for months and months, demo out 26 songs, whittle it down. Like, I like walking in there and being like, hey guys, I have this awesome idea. Like, Save Us and Catastrophe, for instance, are melodies and lyrics that appeared in meditation for me. So I just like voice noted it in meditation, went to the studio that day. I'm like, Brandon, listen to this. He's like, oh, that's awesome. He grabs a guitar, starts writing a riff. Dan comes in. We all just kind of like integrate with that, like more spur of the moment. We get it. We scratch guitar or scratch drums, or put down drums, do scratch guitar. We finish the song, and that song's done in like 3 hours.
Damn.
Next song. So it's like, it's honestly like that's how In Our Wake was done, and that's how Baptized has been done as well.
That's
and it's
awesome.
like I said, like I started this rant, it's the most exciting time of our career, and we're just fucking stoked for people to hear these songs, you know?
Yeah, and dude, Octane's been spinning this stuff like crazy, like this
they
year.
support the shit out of us. They're awesome.
Oh man, like having something like Octane where, and even Liquid Metal, you know, where it's like all new rock, new music, so much support. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, even like when you came in the band, now going back to '04, like that wasn't necessarily the case. It was harder. I feel like it was really hard to get on rock radio sometimes. Like, how has that relationship like been for you guys, and how has that really helped you compared to like when you came in the band? Because it's a completely different world now.
I mean, satellite radio is a wonderful thing, and they do so much to help our band. It's just, and not only our band, like the genre of heavier music. It's incredible. Like truly, like they are a fucking godsend.
Yeah.
Without religion, it's just a phrase.
Right. Right.
And I would say, like, we broke into radio on lead sales, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was a partial goal of ours. We had songs like Falling Down do really well on radio. Bull did fairly well on radio.
Yeah.
I don't think Blow went because it's too much profanity. I don't remember. But either way, so, like, we broke into it, and, you know, we did fairly well, and that did a lot for us.
Mm-hmm.
That showed us a different side of the coin, and it helped us build a different fan base. And it allowed us to expand more than we would have just staying like a hardcore band.
Yeah.
Or a metalcore or whatever the fuck stupid genre you would have put on it. I just say we're a hard rock band.
It's all rock, dude. It's all rock and metal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
So, like, once, I mean, I could be wrong with this because, you know, I've lived a lot of life since. But, like, once we came back with Long Live, I think satellite radio was a lot bigger and had a lot more time to grow then.
Yeah.
And since then, it's just been like nothing but nonstop support from those guys. And like, there's too many people to name by name, but they're all just so wonderful.
Yeah.
Truly. We've met them in person. And we just had Jose in one of our reaction videos. Like, they're just such good people, and they truly care about music, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that for satellite radio, like when my wife and I go, when I take my wife to like Rock on the Range, Sonic Temple, Louder Than Life, like she sees all these bands like you guys, but they're like she's not familiar with, because we live in Indianapolis where there's no rock radio for the most part, and if there is, it's like they play Five Finger Death Punch and then nothing but Dave Grohl, and that's it.
No, I mean, I live in Southern Alabama, and I listen to the local radio station when I shower, and they don't play us.
Exactly. And then
I don't get it, because we're good enough.
Yeah.
We're just as good as that shit.
Yeah, and then I take her to these festivals, like, oh my God, who are these guys? I'm like, then we finally got XM in the last few years, and I'm like, finally, okay, now she knows who you guys are, who all these bands are. It's opening a whole new horizon. So I see it on a personal level, like these, you know, Octane and XM is really broadening like fan bases. It's so refreshing. Thank God.
Yeah.
You know.
They take challenges. They give new people shots. Like, they give young bands opportunities that they never could have gotten before in a million years, you know? It really is a beautiful thing. And obviously, you know, giving us a shot too.
Yeah.
It's great.
So many bands broke because of them too, like got like huge because of that. But bringing in like the guests, especially with Travis Barker on Warrior, which is such a different song. Like, it's very, it's different than what a lot of fans are used to. It's really cool. How did that relationship come about? Obviously, you guys have probably known him for years upon years, just with like festivals, with festivals, Warped and all that. Like, how did that come up this time around? Why so long?
We're connected. We're connected with him through Feldman.
Okay.
You know, obviously, John.
Oh
Feldman,
God, yeah, he worked with Blink. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had that part come up. We were, writing that song, and that part happened, and we're like, we should do like a cadencey drum line sort of feel.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably Brandon was like, we should get Travis on this to Feldman. He's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And then, that's how it works.
Nice.
I definitely have met Travis a few times.
Sure.
I'm not like, I don't have his cell phone number. We don't hang out on weekends.
Right. Right.
I've met him a few times, and he's just a really, really good human being.
Yeah.
He just is like a really warm, kind person that, like, when I've crossed paths with him, he's given me the time of day. And comparably, he's in fucking Blink-182 too. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's a fucking one of the best drummers that's ever existed. So
yes.
he's a really good human being.
That's
and we're
awesome.
just, like, we're honored to have him on a song. Like, it's a really cool part.
Yeah, and speaking of drums, like, bringing in Kyle, he's a new addition, but he's not really new. Like, he's, I mean, the relationship's been there. You guys have known him for a very long time. Just like when you had been in the band for a minute before your first record, does that building that chemistry? I would think that only helps add to the final product and the overall quality, how good the record turns out. Because
he's not on the album.
Oh, he's not. I thought he was.
No, that's Brandon. That's Brandon on the album.
Oh, shoot.
We didn't know what we were going to do as far as that went.
Okay.
Where we were going to take it.
Gotcha.
At that point. So Brandon was on, like I said, we did half the record.
Yeah.
Before the shift, and then afterwards, like, we just had Brandon come on.
Okay.
But yeah, like, that was our goal with bringing Kyle in and putting Brandon up front was to give our fan base and our previous listeners something that they're already familiar with.
Yeah.
Like, what Brandon sounds like up front. Like, he's done it in Hell or High Water. His voice. He's just stepping up there.
Yeah.
Like, what my voice sounds like. I've been all over, more than you realize, every single record since Death Grip.
Right.
And so, like, we didn't want to just bring in some new singer and try to, like, completely shift. So, yes, Brandon's singing it more. Yes, you're hearing my voice more, but it's not any different, really. And on this album, it is still Brandon on drums.
Wow.
But Kyle, I will say, like, we, like you said, we've known him a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just a ridiculously good human being, just in that note. And he's also extremely talented at what he does. We had a moment in summer of 2019. We were going over to do European festivals. And Alex told us a couple days before that he couldn't make it. Like, he was having issues with his back, and he had the hernia thing, and had to have surgery, and his doctor was like, you can't go.
Wow.
And so we were like, but we have to. It's like 90,000 people in Germany we're playing in front of. Like, we can't not do these shows. So he's like, I don't know what to say. We're like, okay. So Brandon was like, let's get Kyle. Kyle has toured with us as a drum tech for years. He knows the songs well enough, just like, from listening to them, and he can do it. So without having a single practice, we had one rehearsal in York, England, where 9/10 of it was technical difficulties. So we had played half of the set once, and then we played Slam Dunk Festival, which is a big festival for us.
Right.
And we had a great slot, and, we love playing English festivals. So we got up there, and he nailed it. And it was so much fun. That whole tour was so much fun. And there were so many times with, like, stuff that was going down, and, like the long drives, and, like, we just got a weird, shitty bus that was literal hell. Not to complain because it was still a bus versus a van, but there were points where it was like, we would rather be in a van right now. This is fucking
oh my God.
And, like, just, we had gnarly situations where, like, it would have taxed us beyond belief, but for some reason, we just had the best time ever. And anytime something was weird and was wrong, like, we just smiled and got through it, and it was such a good time. And the chemistry was like, I think if you were a long-term fan, you'd be like, oh no, like, I'm sad that Alex isn't here, but you would still be like, this is fucking awesome though.
Mm-hmm.
And so having this, like, unintentional trial run, whenever the shift happened last year, we're like, let's do that. Like, we know this works. We've done it. It's tested. We get along with Kyle really well. Like, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome. And yeah, like, when the time comes for that first show back, like, that's going to make that first show so much easier and so much better, because, like, that relationship is there, that you guys have already done that. So, I mean, that really helps take a lot of that stress off your back, which is going to be, oh my God, that's going to be so good. Talk about just one or two quick songs real quick, though. One song that really stood out to me was Stay. And I've read a little bit about what that song is about and whatnot through, like, previous interviews that you've done. And this year is, like, the perfect time for this song to come out. I feel like that song is going to hit home with a lot of people. It's fun how that timing kind of happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of songs like that on this album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, important ones. Like
Broken Again is one.
Save Us was released at a time that was very important for America as well, and what we were all going through. And that was like something that when that song, when all of the riots and everything was happening, I was like, we need this fucking song right now. Like, get this out. It just kept being more true and more true as time went on. I'm like, goodness. So yeah, it's the same with Stay. Like, that's such an important song. It's like, it means a lot to our band, and it means a lot. The lyrics are something that happened with one of Brandon's really close friends, and it's one of those songs that, like, some really fucked up shit went down, and it's an honor and memory of the person that was lost. Right. And that was like a something for us, like it was a monumental task for us to do justice to their passing and convey that emotion in the song. And I think we succeeded. And also it's Dan's first vocal part. And that bridge is Dan, if you didn't know that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. And one thing that a lot of fans may not always think about when they latch onto a song, and I really feel like fans are going to really connect and just attach themselves to that song like heavily, is if that song blows up, that may become a song that you guys have to perform live. And those songs can be really hard to perform live, I would think sometimes. Like, is it hard to disconnect yourself from the background to be able to perform that live, or do you think it's more important to stay connected to where that song comes from to make more of a live experience and to recapture the magic of that song?
I think you got to stay connected to it. I think you have to stay connected to every song you're playing with as best you possibly can, and stay connected to the moment that you're performing it for the audience. Like, that's one of the things that after our pause button that we took at end of 2010, like, when we came back, I swore to myself, every fucking show I'm giving everything. And I'm going to be present, and I'm going to connect every single fan there as I possibly can, physically and, energetically, if you want to get more spiritual about it, but I am fucking there. And I'm giving every part of me, like mind, body, and soul, to give the people that give a shit about our band and reach in our pocket, like, the best moment they can have. Yeah. And so, like, anytime we play The Theft, I feel like that. Anytime we play Remembrance Ballad, I feel like that. Anytime, like, there's so many songs that just hit in a different way, and I'm trying to be honest to those moments. Like, I get super emotional during those songs. So it's, for me, that's personally how I do it. Yeah, and I don't disconnect. I don't disconnect from anything.
And I think it's going to be really important to keep that mindset when we are finally all able to go back at full capacity to festivals and concerts, because so many of us took it for granted. Like, we're like, this is the one thing that's never going to go away. Like, who would have thought concerts would be gone ever? The one healing thing that we all have in our lives and we have together is finally on the verge of coming back. And, like, heck, it was even easy for me to be like, man, I've seen this band like 10 million times. Let's go see it again. Then, or like, I've seen them 10 billion times. I'll catch them next time. Then there hasn't been a next time,
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's, I think that's something that's been good that's come out of this whole last year is like, obviously I would not prefer to do this because of all the horrors and tragedy and death and misery that's happened, but trying to make, lemonade out of lemons or whatever. Like, it's been a really good year to look inside yourself and figure out what you truly love. Yeah. And to weed out all of the useless bullshit that our nation and the world has been consumed by, because most of it doesn't matter. You're worrying about stupid shit. You're consuming stupid nonsense. And you were so distracted from who we are as human beings and humanity as a whole. And so this time gave us a collective, like, okay, look in. And that's honestly what Baptize is about. Like, In Our Wake was about what we do to the outside world and our choices every day of being a kind and uplifting person, or, you can be a shithead and you can ruin people's day. Yeah. And how both of those choices go out into your community, your family, your friends, your nation as a whole. And Baptize is something that, like, kind of organically worked, for lack of a better term, to look inward. And a lot of these songs are about the internal struggle to be the best version of ourselves possible for ourselves. and then that in turn can uplift. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
So that's also one of the reasons I thought it was so important to get it out. I'm like, this needs to come out now so people can have these songs during these times.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully we will see you guys on the road in 2021, because it does look like we're finally getting what we love back to a degree. So are we looking at anything really concrete for 2021 tour-wise, or are you guys looking at kind of rebounding? And
we are doing every single thing we can possibly do to
Yes.
get on the road as soon as it's possibly safe for
Yes.
us and people that would show up in mass at our concert.
Right.
Because it's strange when your entire profession is about getting as many humans shoved into a small room as you can, or a big room, whatever.
Yes.
But the more heads, the better. So, obviously we respect this thing. We respect the lives of the humans that are going. So we believe us, we're working on something. We got something for you.
I love it. And that's the best way to say it.